100th putt this week. Drop for birdie. What a finish for McElroy!
Man, what a putting exhibition.
Rory's coming. Rory McIlroy. Rory. What a Sunday. Rory came through on Sunday, ending a winless streak that goes back to last year's Tour Championship. He shot a bogey-free 8 under 64 to pick up his 14th PGA Tour victory. McIlroy, who took a putting lesson from buddy Brad Faxon early on in the week, apparently it worked because he went even par on his first 5 holes on Sunday and then played what he termed a flawless 13 holes, going 8 under in those 13 holes. Yeah, that's pretty flawless. With the win, he shoots up 154 spots in the FedEx Cup rankings to 24th, is projected to move back into the top 10 in the world, and he joins Tiger and Phil Mickelson as the only players in the modern era to win 14 or more times by the age of 30. Now, it's pretty common knowledge that when Rory is on, he's unbeatable. At least that's pretty common knowledge to me. When he's on his A game, it's the closest thing I've ever seen is Tiger in his prime. That's not even hyperbole. That is literally how good Rory is when he's like on. Again, Tiger could be in his prime. Tiger could be having an off day and still shoot. You wouldn't be able to tell because he could basically shoot essentially the same scores. But when Rory is on, he's unstoppable. The problem, of course, is that he hasn't been on very recently, and he hasn't been able to string that together on a consistent basis. However, if this week is the beginning of another hot streak by Rory McIlroy, A, it's going to add even more fuel to the ratings bonanza that's going to be the Masters in a few weeks, but B, look out, PGA Tour. I almost don't want Rory to go full Rory because we are in such a good spot with golf right now. I don't know if I can handle it. Now, what do I mean by full Rory? Well, after that final stretch of holes, we take a look at the stat rankings for the week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Rory sits first place for the event in driving distance, proximity to the hole, scrambling, and strokes gained putting. So essentially, he hit it the furthest, he hit it the closest, he had the best short game, and he made the most putts. That's what I'm talking about when I say full Rory. That at Augusta, that would be scary, and I don't really want to see anyone running away with it unless his name's Tiger Woods. So, I mean, it was a ridiculous Sunday. The feather in the cap of the whole thing, though, was that ridiculous putt he made on 18 to clinch the win. The second his approach shot landed, before it even came to a stop, I muttered out loud, "Oh, it's the Tiger spot." We've seen Tiger make that putt so many times. Apparently, Rory was thinking the same thing.
What a finish for McElroy!
Man, what a putting exhibition.
Rory also garnered some attention this week after calling for the limiting of alcohol sales after he was apparently heckled all day. Some guy, among other things, was apparently yelling out his wife or fiance's name all day. Anyways, Rory made the best of it in his post-tourney presser, getting the last laugh.
There you go. Anyone else? No? All right. To Arnie. Arnie again. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for covering. Thanks for making us seem better than we are. And cheers. Thank you.
There was a lot of other crazy stuff, too, over the weekend, not just Rory. Bryson DeChambeau. Like him or hate him, if you saw the little feature they ran about Bryson's past with Arnie, it was hard not to at least feel good that he was in contention. Bryson battled hard all day. He had a little bit of an up and down day, but by the time he arrived at the par 5 16th hole, Rory was already doing his thing. So it looked like Rory was running away with the tournament completely. But DeChambeau made an eagle putt from, I'd say about 15, 18 feet. Big fist pump, brought him within one of Rory. It was really cool to see.
As for Eagle to get within one, if it's firm enough. So DeChambeau to 16 under.
Seconds later, Rory made his birdie on 18, so it didn't really matter. But, I mean, those types of days, those types of shots, those types of moments. Those are the types of things that can turn someone's career around. And especially a guy like Bryson, he's got all the talent and all the smarts in the world, but he has all these strange little idiosyncrasies, and he has yet to really break through the way we thought he was going to. So coming through like that, finishing second in an event like that with that field, that's going to give him a lot of confidence going forward. Justin Rose. He didn't win or even come very close, really, but in shooting a second straight 67 for a third-place finish, you have to at least think he exceeded expectations after what was a brutal start. Coming off a tied 5th at the Valspar last week, he was among others' favorites. He was among my favorites, but he triple bogeyed his second hole of the entire tournament, the par 4 11th on Thursday, and he was 4 over before he began to crawl his way back. So all things considered, pretty good week for Justin. Henrik Stenson. Henrik took a one-shot lead into the final round, and he was attempting to become the 3rd straight tour winner in his 40s, sticking up for the old guys, but alas, he was making just his 3rd PGA Tour to the start of the season, and his rust, it was relatively evident. He never really looked too sharp, especially on the greens. He left a lot of putts like woefully short or missed the hole completely. He fired a final round 71, and he finished 4th. He's now 3 for 7 at converting third-round leads and co-leads into win on the PGA Tour, something that no one's going to be happy about. A guy like Stenson that is such a perfectionist, that's going to drive him crazy. So very interesting to see the next time he is in that situation, how he handles it. Tiger Woods. Finally, Tiger Woods. You knew I was going to get to it. For 15 holes on Sunday, that was about as perfect of a round as any fan could realistically hope for. Starting the day at -7 and 5 shots back, it really just, as much as I was hoping for a Tiger, it did seem realistic that he wouldn't have any chance unless everyone pretty much played terrible. Turns out in the end, he didn't really actually have a chance because it would have taken a 61 to get into a playoff with Rory. But, that's in hindsight. There was a point in the round, Tiger was standing on the par 5, the tee at the par 5 16th, and he was one shot back. It was a driver wedge par 5. Birdie ties him. Eagle puts him in the lead. I know there was guys behind him, and obviously in hindsight it might not have mattered. But if he drops an eagle there, who knows what happens behind him? Who knows how that affects Rory and the other guys? Rory doesn't seem the type like he's going to get rattled by that. But hey, you never know. As it was, he pulled his driver left out of bounds, and that was essentially curtains for the week right there for Tiger. He bogeyed the hole. Yeah. In the moment, it was disappointing and shocking, but actually after hearing his explanation, he was interviewed by Steve Sands of the Golf Channel after the round. So after hearing his explanation for the drive, I actually think he's going to come out of this better and learn a lot from it.
David, thank you. With Tiger Woods. Tiger, you've told me for years you play only one way to win. You're one back, a par 5, and it's reachable. You pulled out the driver. What was the mentality when you stood on that tee?
I was caught. I didn't decide what I was going to do. If I hit driver, I got to fit it. I got to cut it in there. And I was just in the back of my mind, I said, why don't you just bomb it over the top? And it's only a 315, 320 carry. And I didn't commit to it and bailed out and hit a bad shot. And that's on me for not committing.
Is the commitment part of the rust factor of not being in the competitive mode, or what was it?
No, because I had three different shots there. I could have, if I hit driver, I try to fit it. I can fit it, but I got to shape it. Or I just bomb it over the top, don't worry about anything. Or it's hit 3-wood and 8-iron in there. It's not that hard a hole. Playing downwind is playing short. My 3-wood today is going about 300, 310. So what's the point? And I didn't decide.
Regardless, the 5th place finish is evidence that even if Tiger isn't back in the sense of winning every tournament, something that, no one is ever going to do ever again, he's clearly back in the sense that he's playing regularly, he's playing tournament golf, he's back in the swing of things and at least playing healthy, being in the field. We're not like, oh, is Tiger going to be out for the rest of the year? And here's that shit. So at least you can say he's back. Whatever your definition of back means is different, but that's at least what I mean. Like, he's back on the PGA Tour. Okay? Anyway, since the miss cut at Riviera, he's gone 12th, 2nd, and 5th in his last 3 starts. So those are all in good fields on a lot of tough courses. So at the very least, whatever you think about Tiger, at the very least, he is trending in the right direction heading into Augusta. People getting on him for not winning yet, he's only played 18 rounds on the PGA Tour this season. He's been off for basically better part of 3 seasons, so just take a deep breath. It is coming, okay? After the 5th place finish, Tiger now moves up to 105th in the world golf ranking, which for Tiger Woods, that's low, high, whatever you want to call it. But just keep in mind a few months ago, before the Hero World Challenge in December, he was 674th in the world. So he's also got himself up to 35th in the FedEx Cup points, 24th in the U.S. Ryder Cup points, 30th on the President's Cup list of points, 32nd on this year's PGA Tour money list. And to put it all in perspective, with the money he just earned from that 5th place, Tiger's career earnings, and this is on the golf course only, so this doesn't include sponsorships, appearance fees, anything like that. This is just on the course. He's by far the career money list leader in PGA Tour history with earnings of $111,182,687 just on the course. Okay, sure, I am biased when it comes to golf, and especially Tiger Woods, but it struck me yesterday like a hammer over the head as I literally spent the entire day in bed watching golf. Sundays, when Tiger's in the hunt, are better than NFL Sundays. I'm just going to put it out there. Tiger is officially making Sundays great again. It may sound preposterous, but have a look at social media when Tiger is roaring. No NFL Sunday, especially a mid-season one, gets the juices flowing for both the diehards of the sport and the casual sports fan. That's the big difference. The casual sports fan, everyone is all over Tiger when he's playing. When Tiger is chasing down the leaders or holding them off, it's like the sporting world just stops. And we only have seen a few weeks of it before a single major. Can you imagine what's going to happen if any combination of Tiger and any one of Rory, DJ, Spieth, Justin Thomas, Phil, etc., any of those guys are coming down the stretch with a major up for grabs? Twitter might just break. Throw in a day like yesterday when you had so many top golfers within a few strokes of the lead with charges left and right, chanting from the crowd, huge roars, and just ridiculously good shot making all over the course. Golf has never been in a better place. Never. And I'm not out here saying it's a better TV sport than football in general, but with Tiger in the hunt, there is nothing, I repeat, nothing better than a Sunday afternoon watching golf. Disagree? Tell me why. One last thing from the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Patrick Reed. Yep, this guy always seems to make the news, probably just because I don't like him very much. But last week, it was for his apparel, which he wore the exact same thing again this Sunday, unless I'm mistaken. But this time, it was comments he made to a rules official in an attempt to get a free drop. This I actually didn't see until Monday morning, so...
If I were to take 7 iron, I'll be standing on this game. I think you'd be taking an abnormal stance and trying to stand on the game and hit that shot.
Not if I take 7 iron. Are you kidding me? Let me see 7 iron, see if there's an abnormal. I guess my name needs to be Jordan Speed, guys.
Yeah, Patrick, you're going to play away. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I want a third opinion. I'm allowed that. Yeah, I do. I do want a third opinion from an unbiased source.
I actually, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was funny at first, especially because there's another person that chiming in, like any other player, we're getting a drop, blah, blah, blah. But once he starts going into the I need a third opinion sort of thing, like, come on. You really think 2 separate rules officials were out there with intentions? They started the day going out there like, hey, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go out there and we're going to screw over Patrick Reed. And he wasn't even really in contention. And look at the other players that were on the golf course at that exact same time. Those rules officials are out there doing their jobs. They're professionals. Come on, Patrick. You can always tell a lot about someone's character by how they treat people that can either not do anything for them really or people that disagree with them. Patrick's character speaks for itself. A couple of quick tidbits before getting into this week's event. First of all Final Round Masters broadcasts going back to 1968 are now available on YouTube. 2 things. 1, this is a huge change for Augusta because they are extremely tight with their footage. For example, here at Sportsnet, where I work my day job, we never air the Tiger chip in on 16 from 2005. I literally think we've never aired it without showing stills, even when we do countdown shows, because it's deemed this is the phrase that comes straight from the Masters. It's too iconic, and it costs a fortune just to air a second of it. So unless you're the tournament's right holder, it's sort of like the Olympics. You never see Olympics highlights unless it's during the Olympics. So it's incredible that they're doing this. They're really opening up a lot of people. I've just never seen these broadcasts that, unless you're watching on the Sunday of a Masters, you're not going to see this stuff. So secondly, to me at least, it is incredible to see the course, how it looked, how it played, going back through the 70s, 80s, 90s. It almost looks more impressive. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but to me, it almost looks more impressive when you see the old footage, because old footage usually looks crap. But here, the course looks incredible. If you have some spare time between now and the Masters, I recommend watching, I'll give you 3. The 1986 final round, Jack Nicklaus's last Masters, arguably the best final round of any major championship ever. The 1996 one, really good. You'll see a crazy collapse from Greg Norman, an amazing final round by Nick Faldo to win the green jacket. And then my personal favorite, 2003 has symbolic meaning because I'm a left-handed Canadian golfer, but my favorite Masters definitely has to be 2005. The chip in on 16 by Tiger, then inexplicably bogeying the final 2 holes. DeMarco's chip on 18 somehow not dropping. Then they go back and play the playoff. The putt Tiger makes in the playoff to win. So good. So good. Anyways, check those out. Also, a quick shout out to Kelly Tilghman. Kelly is retiring after 22 years with the Golf Channel. Going back to my childhood, I would say she's the single most influential female, let me say this properly, the single most influential female golf reporter and anchor that there is. That's not to disrespect anyone or take anything away from anyone else, but she has paved the path for a lot of women in golf to be where they are now. And every story I've heard of interactions with her have just been nothing but spectacular. So congratulations to Kelly on an amazing career, and best of luck in whatever it is you end up doing next. This week, the tour is going to change things up a bit. There are 2 events, but I'm not going to get into the opposite field one, to be honest. Take a look by yourself if you want to. I'm just going to focus on the match play. That's the bigger tournament. The 2018 World Golf Championships Dell Technologies Match Play. It is the 20th WGC Match Play, and it's going to take place at Austin Country Club in, you guessed it, Austin, Texas. First, I'm going to deal with the format of the event, because this is a little confusing. In 2014 and before then, the whole week was basically just a single elimination match play event until the final, which was a 36-hole match. Similarly, basically, it was the same as the March Madness bracket-style NCAA. Just a bracket, you win, you go on, you lose, you go home. In 2005, they introduced a bit of a new format. A completely new format, at least for the first few days. It now starts on a Wednesday, and it's they go into pools. So basically, in order to not have a top player potentially gone after just one round, which I actually always liked, it sucked to see if Tiger lost on the first day, which happened a few times, but it was huge. It made it a big deal. Anyways, they now go with 16 groups of 4 players. They play round-robin matches, each guy playing each other guy in their, I'm going to call them pods, each guy playing each other guy in their pod on Wednesday through Friday. And then the top player from each group advances to the Sweet 16, and then it's just a straight bracket from there. Basically, each of the 16 pods will include one of the top 16 seeded players. Then the remaining 48 players are placed into 3 pools, seeds 17 to 32, seeds 33 to 48, and seeds 49 to 64. And each group has 1 player randomly selected from each pool to complete the pod of 4. Still with me? From Wednesday to Friday, all group play matches within the pods are limited to 18 holes, with 1 point awarded for a win and 1 half point for a halved match. Once these pod rounds are completed, so once everyone's played everyone in their pod, the winner of each group advances to a regular single elimination bracket on the weekend with the round of 16 and quarterfinals on Saturday and the semifinals, finals, and consolation match on Sunday. Get it? Got it? Good. The groups will be picked Monday night, so you could probably take a look by the time you hear this, but in terms of some of the guys in the field, it's obviously pretty top-heavy. Here you see Group A. So each of these players will be the favorite in their separate 4-person pod. So one of the guys from each of these guys will be the first separated into one of the 16 pods. The likes of which we see in this group: Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, new dad Sergio Garcia, Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, clearly the top of the top. Group B, again, each of these will be split into a pod with a guy from pools A, C, and D. Include Patrick Reed, Patrick Cantlay, Louis Oosthuizen. Group C includes Bubba Watson, Adam Hadwin, Thomas Peters. And finally, Group D, which includes Charles Schwartzel, Ian Poulter, and Zach Johnson. Dustin Johnson comes in as the defending champion. Not only did he win here last year though, he never trailed in a match the entire week. Never trailed a match the entire week, and he would go on to win all 4 of the World Golf Championship titles last year. Not quite the same as the Major Slam, but completely unprecedented. This year, he's 0-2 in the WGCs so far. Justin Rose winning the HSBC Champions, and Mickelson taking the WGC Mexico just a few weeks ago. So we'll see what he's got this week. Jason Day, another favorite. He's 21-7 in this event in his career. He has won the whole thing twice and is one of 5 former champions in the field, including Rory McIlroy, Matt Kuchar, Ian Poulter, and John Rahm. 3 players in the field come in looking for back-to-back wins. That'd be Justin Thomas, Phil Mickelson, and Paul Casey. In all, 59 of the top 64 players in the golf rankings are teeing it up, so we're bound to see some good shit. The 5 that aren't present out of the top 64 are Brooks Koepka, still recovering from a wrist injury, Justin Rose, Ricky Fowler, Adam Scott, and Henrik Stenson. Fair given their schedules as of late. Let's leave it at that. Don't want to wear yourself out before the Masters. The course itself, not that it really matters too much in match play, but the course itself is Austin Country Club. As I mentioned earlier, it's in Austin, Texas. 7,108-yard par 71 track that I'm sure they'll try and set it up to encourage low scorers. I guess you never know. But in match play, you want birdies. It's believed to be the oldest golf course in Texas, opening in 1899 and undergoing a Pete Dye renovation in 1984. The course has 2 very different nines. The front 9 is on a higher ground and typical of the surrounding Texas hill country. The back 9 is more of a lowlands 9 alongside Lake Austin that offers a scenic backdrop as matches complete. Lots to look out for this week. That is where I'm actually going to end things today. As usual, please subscribe on iTunes or YouTube, please. Depending on how you take this in, one or the other. If you watch the video, obviously YouTube. If you listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, please subscribe on iTunes, and give me a 5-star rating if you believe I deserve it. Tiger is off this week, unfortunately, but he will be making a trip to Augusta. He said he wants to, quote, see if his yardage book still matches up. So whether that's this week or next, I will be tweeting about it when it happens. Follow me there if you have Twitter. That's at RJ McCullough, at RJMCCULLOUGH. The event starts Wednesday, so be sure to remember that. Get your picks and everything in by then. I will do my best to have the blog and everything out by Tuesday night at the latest. Maybe Wednesday morning if it happens to be that case. Thank you for listening. Enjoy match play. I will talk to you next week.